Our ancestors had no words, no memes, no stand-up comedy. So how did they laugh at the same things? Because laughter, it turns out, is older than language itself. Way older than anything we would call culture. Picture two figures crouched by a fire maybe 40,000 years ago, sharing warmth against the dark. One of them slips on a wet stone and lands flat on their back near the flickering fire. The other one makes a sound. A short, breathy, rhythmic sound that scientists think you'd instantly recognize. It would be almost identical to the noise you make when your friend trips over a curb today. But wait, first, what even counts as a laugh? Because here's where the whole question gets slippery. Laughter is not the same as humor, and humor is definitely not the same thing as smiling. A smile can be polite, nervous, fake, diplomatic, just a social mask we wear without even thinking.
But humor is a mental process, the recognition that something is off, absurd, unexpected, or wonderfully wrong. But laughter itself is a physical reflex, a vocal burst, a stuttered exhale from deep inside you. Your diaphragm spasms, your vocal cords vibrate, and out comes this weird, involuntary noise humans instantly recognize. And that reflex, that specific, involuntary vocal sound, is exactly what we're chasing back through deep time. Because if laughter is a reflex, it must have a biological history. It must have evolved somehow. And it must have evolved for a reason, an ancient purpose baked deep into our nervous system. If we can trace it back, we can ask whether ancient humans laughed at the same things, like whether an ancient human would laugh at a video of a cat knocking a glass off a table. The problem is obvious. Fossils don't preserve giggles, and bones do not record the punchlines of comedians.
And there's no cave painting captioned, "And then he sat down on the mum of dung." Haha. So how do scientists actually study something as invisible, as fleeting, as ephemeral as ancient human laughter? So they triangulate carefully. They look at our closest living relatives, chimps, bonobos, gorillas, for real clues. They look at the anatomy of the throat and the ribcage preserved inside very old human skeletons. They study the earliest written jokes we ever recovered, scratched onto clay tablets thousands of years ago. And they look at what makes babies, every baby in every culture, start laughing before they can speak. Here's the first strange piece of evidence. Rats laugh. Actual rats. Scientists tickle them and record it. Tickle a young rat's belly and it emits ultrasonic chirps that scientists have literally recorded and slowed down. Play those chirps back and the rats come running. They want more. They chase the hand that tickled them. This isn't a metaphor. It's laughter, or at least the evolutionary skeleton of it, alive inside a rodent. Now move up the evolutionary tree. Chimpanzees pant laugh. Gorillas do it. Orangutans do it. Bonobos do it too. When apes wrestle, chase or play fight, they make a rhythmic panting sound with an open mouth, the play face. It looks goofy, sounds like heavy breathing with rhythm, and matches human laughter when scientists slow it down. So the last common ancestor of humans and great apes, 10 to 16 million years ago, was already laughing. Not telling jokes, not doing bits, but making that same breathy vocalization during play with other creatures. Laughter predates our species. It predates walking upright. It predates fire. It's older than any tool we've dug up. So if apes laugh, what exactly did our earliest ancestors actually find funny back then? The leading answer is called play theory. Imagine you're a small hominin roaming around 2 million years ago. You're wrestling with a sibling. Teeth are involved. Claws, sort of. This could turn dangerous very fast. So you need a clear signal that says, "I'm not trying to hurt you. This is play. Keep going. It's fine." That signal is the play face and the panting laugh. A truce flag saying, "No threat here at all." Scientists found this same signal across almost every primate species that engages in rough physical play together. It's a shared inheritance, a pre-verbal contract between two bodies saying, "We are truly safe together." That matters because laughter didn't evolve to make jokes funny. It evolved to make bonding safe. The joke came later, way later. The laugh came first as a survival tool gluing small groups together through shared vulnerability. When you laugh with someone, you're briefly defenseless. Eyes squint, abs contract fully. You can't fight, you can't run. To laugh together is to trust each other with tiny weakness. Ancient humans who lived and died by group cohesion needed that social glue more than almost anything. But here's the thing. Humor got weirder fast once our ancestors finally developed spoken language. Laughter got a new job. It stopped being purely physical and started attaching itself to ideas, to wordplay, to surprise, to the recognition that something is delightfully out of place somehow. And that's where the historical record finally starts actually speaking to us across the deep centuries. The oldest recorded joke in human history is, believe it or not, a Sumerian fart joke. It's carved into a clay tablet from around 1900 years before Christ, remarkably ancient indeed. Roughly translated, something that has never occurred since time immemorial, a young woman did not fart
in her husband's lap. That's it. That's the whole joke. Almost 4,000 years old, friends, and it's a fart joke. Now, move forward to ancient Egypt, where scribes carved puns straight into tomb walls. They joked about lazy workers, drunk priests, quarreling husbands and wives, the same targets we still mock today. Roll forward to Pompeii, buried under ash in 79 Common Era, its walls covered in graffiti that survived. Roman graffiti includes exactly the kind of things you'd see scratched into a bathroom stall in any city today. Insults about someone's mother, complaints about the food, sexual boasting that would get flagged on any modern app. Toilet humor, body humor, stupid neighbor humor, same targets across 4,000 years. Bodies, status, stupidity, and sex. The specific costume changes, togas instead of hoodies, chariots instead of cars, but the joke skeleton stays identical. Thousands of years apart, same punchlines.
But not everything survives translation. Some ancient jokes die on the page. There's a Greek joke book called the Philogelos, and about half of it makes zero sense to modern readers. One goes, a scholar bought a house and leaned out the window asking passers-by if it suited him. You're supposed to laugh. You probably didn't. The joke depends on a stereotype Greeks found hilarious back then. The absent-minded intellectual referenced a whole cultural type. Without that context, the punchline is just a weird sentence. Same with Aristophanes. His comedies are packed with references to specific politicians, street vendors, and rival Athenian playwrights. Take away that context and half the jokes evaporate. Humor is universal in mechanism, but its surface stays local. So which parts of laughter are actually hardwired? Which parts belong to every human, ancient or modern? Scientists have a good candidate: incongruity theory. The idea is simple. Your brain is a prediction machine.
All day it runs quiet forecasts about what happens next. When forecasts break in a safe way, pleasure fires. When reality delivers something unexpected but not threatening, your brain releases a burst of pleasure, laughter. That burst is your brain rewarding itself for spotting the glitch in the matrix. That's why slapstick works. In every culture studied, people laugh when someone confidently walks toward the door and smacks into the glass. It doesn't need translation. The brain predicted a smooth entrance. It got a faceplant. Laugh reflex fires. Studies show babies laugh at peekaboo across every culture on the planet. Every single one, without exception. A face disappears. Prediction says gone. The face reappears. Surprise, back again. Broken expectation safely delivered. Baby laughs. That same mechanism, dressed in 1,000 cultural outfits, drives every joke you've ever heard in your life.
Here's a phrase you may have come across before. Anthropologists sometimes call humans the super predator species. Not because we're the strongest, we're not, but because we hunt in coordinated groups and outthink our prey. Group hunting requires deep trust and coordination. Laughter is one of the fastest tools we evolved to build trust. Share a laugh with three strangers around a fire, and you've compressed weeks of bonding into 30 seconds. That is not a small thing. That's a survival technology, quietly binding our species together over millennia. Then comes the darker side of ancient humor. Because laughter isn't only a bonding tool, it's also a weapon. And ancient societies used it like one. Think about how mockery works, quietly and without needing any real force. If someone is lazy, selfish, cruel, cowardly, the group starts laughing at them. Not with them, but at them. Ridicule is one of our oldest social punishments. It leaves no bruise, but it changes people's behavior remarkably fast. Get laughed at enough and you either change how you act or you quietly leave the group entirely. For ancient humans in bands of 20 or 40, being laughed out was close to a death sentence. No group meant no hunting partners, no protection, no fire. So the fear of ridicule became absolutely enormous. That fear quietly kept the tribe cohesive. It enforced group norms without anyone ever having to raise a fist. Natural selection favored people who could read the room, who knew when to laugh and when to hold back, when to deploy a well-timed mocking imitation of the arrogant hunter who kept missing all of his shots. Humor became social intelligence, and social intelligence, out there in a tiny band, quickly became survival itself. So did ancient humans laugh at the same things we do? The honest answer is yes, at the core. They laughed at surprise. They laughed at buddies doing what buddies do.
They laughed at status flipped upside down. They laughed at each other, sometimes cruelly, to keep the whole small hunting group somehow in fighting shape. And they laughed together to say something simple. We're safe with each other. We belong. We're in this. But what does all this mean for you, scrolling right now? It means your memes are actually ancient. That video where a guy jumps a fence and beefs it, same reflex a scribe carved into wet clay. 4,000 years ago. Same panting hoot a chimpanzee made 10 million years back. Different costume, same neural circuit. It also means laughter is still the fastest social glue we have. Faster than gifts, faster than conversation itself. When you laugh with someone, your bodies briefly sync. Breathing rhythm, heart rate, even brain activity in some studies. Two strangers who share a genuine laugh are, biologically, no longer strangers. They've just performed a very old ritual. Here's an uncomfortable thought. Modern loneliness, the epidemic everyone keeps writing about, might partly be a laughter deficit. Not a screen problem, a laughter problem. We consume comedy alone now, headphones in, endless silent scroll on repeat. We watch someone else be funny instead of sitting in a room where laughter actually bounces between real bodies. That shared, echoing, contagious laugh lasting long past the joke, exactly what ancestors used around every single fire. Imagine you're sharing a fire with an ancestor from 30,000 years ago. No shared language, no shared religion, no single reference in common. But someone in the group trips over a log, and you both laugh together. Same sound, same reflex, same tiny agreement that the world just glitched in a way that hurt no one. In that moment, across 30,000 years of history, you are doing something identical. You are the same animal. One more strange thing before we wrap. Researchers argue laughter is one of our last honest signals. Almost everything else, a smile, a compliment, a tone of voice, can be faked convincingly by anyone. But a real belly laugh is very hard to fake. Your body knows. Other people's bodies know instantly. Every genuine laugh you share is a small piece of verified truth passing between two nervous systems. Ancient humans depended on that. They needed to know who was really with them and who was performing. And when you laughed together around the fire, doubt dissolved. Trust settled in without anyone saying a word. 4,000 years from now, imagine someone digs up a hard drive full of videos that made you laugh. They probably won't get most references or memes. Those will feel as weird as that Greek scholar window joke. But the sound of the actual laugh itself, that they'll recognize instantly, because that sound never changed. That sound is a species-level heirloom, carried across every generation without needing translation or any explanation whatsoever. If you found this interesting, I've got a next one coming on a related question about ancient humans. Did ancient humans cry the same way we do? Tears might have an even older evolutionary story than laughter. I just explain things that make me curious. If that sounds like your thing,